day of the wedding. And Kate is there, she's all dressed up. Baptista's there, he's very happy that his daughter's finally getting married. Everybody that we've already talked about is there. And they get there, and they're waiting for Petruchio to arrive. And they wait, and they wait, and they wait. And hours go by and he doesn't show up. And Signor Baptista is getting very nervous and he says, "Hey, Signor Lucentio, what do you think happened to him?" And Tranio says, "Oh, I'm sure that he's on his way, he's probably late, there was traffic or something like that." And Kate is getting really upset. She's like, "Look, this is my wedding day and this crazy man that you arranged for me to marry isn't even showing up." And she runs off. And in that moment, in comes little Biondello and he says, "Hey, I saw Petruchio coming." But he's dressed really weird. And everyone goes, "Oh, it doesn't matter. As long as he's coming, it's good." And in that moment, in comes Petruchio, and he is dressed really funny. He's wearing one shoe, the other one's missing somewhere, he has a tutu on, he's dressed really crazily. And everyone's like, oh no, you can't get married like this." And he says, "Of course I can. She's married to me, not my clothes. Where's Kate? I'd love to meet her." And he runs off after her. And everybody goes, "Ah!" And they run in to see the wedding. But Trani goes, "Psst, psst, Lucentio, come here." So Lucentio comes and they have a little chat. And Tranio says, "Look, so I'm gonna get a man, I'm gonna dress him up like your father, and he's gonna make the assurance of the money for Bianca, okay?" And Lucentio goes, "Great idea, good plan, Tranio." And in comes Petruchio with Kate, they just got married. And he says, "Oh, thank you, everyone, and now I've got to go." And everyone goes, "Oh, but wait, aren't you gonna stay for dinner?" And he says, No, I have to go away right now." And Kate says, "Wait, will you stay for me?" And he looks at her and he says, "No, let's go." And Kate gets angry and she stamps her foot and she says, "I'm not leaving." And Petruchio says, "Oh, yes you are." And he throws her over his shoulder. He says, "Grumio, draw forth thy weapon." Grumio takes out his sword, runs circles around everybody, and they run off together back to Petruchio's house. And everybody goes to look and they go, "Oh, whoa, what a crazy marriage that was." The second half of the play starts with Grumio, Petruchio's trusty servant. And he's been sent ahead to Petruchio's. And in comes Petruchio and he says, "Hey, where is everybody? I thought I asked you to meet me at the gate. You silly servants." And he beats the servants. And Kate, who's been following after, she said, "Oh, husband, I prithee, don't be so angry. Everything's fine." And Petruchio says, "All right, Kate, sit down. Let's have some dinner." So they sit down to eat some dinner, and the servants very cautiously bring in some food and put it before them. And Petruchio says, "What's this?" And they say, "Oh, it's dinner." He says, "Well, it's burnt." And he throws it back at the servants and he throws it all around the room. And Kate goes, "What are you doing? What are you doing? It was fine. The food was good." And Petruchio says, "It wasn't good at all, Kate. It was burnt and it would give us indigestion and that would make us very angry. So it's better that we go to bed without having any dinner. So come, I'll take you to bed." And Kate says, "All right." And they go upstairs to bed. And just a moment later, Petruchio comes back down and he says to the audience, he talks directly to them, and he says, "This is my plan. This is how I'm going to kill my wife with kindness. Everything that she does, like let's say she tries to go to sleep, I'll make a big fuss and I'll throw around the pillow and the blanket and I'll say it's not soft enough. Let's say she's hungry, she wants to eat, and I'll say, 'Oh, no,' and I'll throw the food away and I'll say it was burned, it was dried away, I won't let you touch it. And everything I do, I'll say I do it because I love her. And that's how I'm going to tame this wild lady." So he goes off to do his plan. Now, back in Padua, you have Signor Hortensio, and he's brought Signor Lucentio, who's really Tranio dressed up, and he says, "Sir, I know that you're planning to marry Bianca next week, but I think you should see something." So they hide here, and in comes Lucentio and Bianca having a little lesson, and then they start kissing. And Hortensio pulls off his mustache and he says, "I'm not really a school teacher, I'm Signor Hortensio, and I will forswear Bianca and her love forever." And Tranio says, "Me too," and they swear. And Hortensio says, "I'm going to marry a widow who has long loved me, and not this Bianca. She's such a loose woman." And he runs off. And then Tranio says, "Psst, Lucentio, so I'm gonna find a man. We got a man. He's coming down the street now. We're gonna dress him up like your dad, and he'll make the assurance of your money. Take care of Bianca, because we're gonna get you two married soon. So Lucentio runs off with Bianca. Biondello, the trusty little servant, says, he's coming, he's coming! And Tranio waits. And as he's waiting on the side of the street, in comes an old man, and Tranio bumps into him and says, oh, excuse me, where are you going? And the man says, well, I've just come from Mantua, and now... You've come from Mantua, Tranio says. Oh, and careless of your life? Don't you know that anyone from Mantua immediately gets killed when they come to Padua? And the old man goes, oh, I didn't know that at all. And Tranio says, well, don't worry, I'll take care of you. All you have to do is dress up like my father, sign some paperwork about me and a girl, and I promise no one will hurt you. And the pedant goes, oh, all right, whatever you say. And Tranio winks at us, and they run off. Then, back in Petruchio's house, and Petruchio grabs Kate and says, oh, darling, we're going back home to your father's house for your sister's wedding, and oh, a tailor's coming, he made a beautiful dress. So in comes, the tailor, and he made a beautiful dress for Catherine to wear. And he says, ta-da, what a beautiful gown. And Kate goes, oh my gosh, it is beautiful. I would look so good in this. Petruchio says, what kind of a dress is this? Look at that, and this, and this. It's disgusting. And he throws the dress on the ground. And Petruchio whispers in Hortensio's ear, Hortensio, pay the tailor, tell him everything's okay. So Hortensio goes, gives the tailor some money and tells him everything okay. And Kate is quite sad because she'd never seen a prettier dress than that. She really wanted to wear it to her sister's wedding. That's how it is. Let's go off to your sister's now for the wedding. So they continue on. Now, back in Padua, Tranio is with the pedant. He's dressed him all up now like his father, and he says, okay, now this is your big moment, pedant. You have to tell Baptista you're my father, and you'll make the assurance of the money. Got it? Oh, okay, I got it. He's really nervous. And in comes Baptista, and Tranio says, all right, this is the moment. So the pedant says, oh, Signor Baptista, my son, Lucentio, wants to marry your daughter, Bianca, and I'll pay for it. And Baptista goes, hey, that's great, give me a hug, buddy, we're gonna be in-laws. And Tranio says, okay, everybody, that's enough hugging, let's go back to my house and sign all the paperwork quick before anyone changes their mind. So these three run off. Now, back on the road, Petruchio and Catherine are coming into town, and they stop for a little break. And Petruchio says, oh gosh, wow, the moon is shining so bright. And Kate says, it's not the moon, it's the sun, it's the middle of the day. And Petruchio says, look, whatever I say, you're always telling me the opposite. Let's go home. And Kate says, no, let's stay. All right. If you say it's the moon, it's the moon. Petruchio looks at her and he says, well, it's not the moon, it's the sun. And she says, all right, it's the sun. And he says, it's the moon. And she says, all right, it's the moon. And they look at each other and they realize that they love one another. And in that moment, there comes an old man, Signor Vincentio. But I'm actually on my way to Padua because my son Lucentio has been studying there. And Petruchio says, oh, your son Lucentio, we're actually just on our way to his wedding. And Vincentio goes, his wedding? I haven't heard anything about that. And Petruchio says, well, don't worry about it. Come, we'll travel with us. We'll show you the way. And he says, all right. And the three of them now go. Back in Padua, Biondello is going, hey, psst, psst, Lucentio, bring Bianca. Here, this way. Go to the church. There's a priest waiting. You're going to get married secretly. Woohoo, yippee. And they run off to get married secretly. And then in comes Petruchio and Kate and Vincentio. And Petruchio says, oh, this is the house. This is the house where Lucentio stays. Why don't you knock on the door? So, Signor Vincentio knocks on the door, and the pedant sticks out his head and he says, what do you want? And Vincentio says, oh, I'm looking for my son, Lucentio. And the pedant says, oh, well, go away, he's very busy. And Vincentio says, well, tell him that his father's here, and he brought some money so he could have a good time. And the pedant said, oh, his father's not out there. I'm his father. And Signor Vincentio goes, you're not his father. I'm his father. And he starts making a big fuss in the city. And Tranio comes running down with Signor Baptista and the pedant, and Tranio sees him and goes, oh, uh-oh. So in that moment, in ran Lucentio and Bianca. They just got married, and Lucentio says, oh, pardon, good father. And Vincenzo says, oh, my son, I'm so glad to see you alive. And Bianca runs up to her father, and she says, oh, pardon, dear father. And he says, why? What did you do? And Bianca says, well, I just got married to this guy. This isn't really a school teacher. He's the real Lucentio. Now, Kate and Petruchio, who've been watching all this while, pop out, and Kate says, come on, husband, let's go and see and watch the end of this. And Petruchio says, wait, first, give me a kiss. And Kate's a little bit nervous. And he says, all right, let's go home. And she says, no, I'll give you a kiss. She looks at him. And they kiss. And they run off to the big banquet. So, then there's a big party. Everybody who's anybody is there. So, Lucentio and Bianca are there. Kate and Petruchio are there at the wedding. Hortensio and his lovely widow are there because they just got married. The papas are there. Tranio and the pedant are there. Even old Gremio is still there. And Grumio, of course, trusty servant. So everyone's at this party. And they're having a good time, laughing, joking. And the ladies all get up and they decide to go to the parlor to powder their noses. So all the ladies go off to powder their noses. And the boys are joking around and everybody says, hey, Petruchio, looks like you got a real wildcat there. And he says, well, I don't think so. I think she's actually the best behaved of all the wives. And to prove it, let's have a bet. Let's each one call to our wives, and whoever's wife comes first wins the bet. And Lucentio and Hortensio say, hey, we like that idea, let's bet 20 crowns. And Petruchio says, 20 crowns? Or $20. I would bet that much on my dog, but I'd bet 20 times that much on my wife. 100. And they say, okay, 100 crowns then. And who shall begin? And Lucentio says, I'll go first. And he says, Biondello, spicy guy, go and tell Bianca to come to me. So Biondello runs off, and then he comes back in. And he says, I'm sorry, sir. She says she's busy and she can't come. Oh! Everyone goes, Lucentio! And he shuffles his feet. And then Signor Hortensio goes, Biondello, go and entreat my wife to come to me. So Biondello runs out, and then he runs back in. And he says, well, she says she can't come and she wants you to come to her. And everyone goes, oh, Hortensio, worse and worse. So Petruchio says, now, Signor Grumio, go to your mistress and command her, come to me. So Grumio goes out, and everybody's waiting. Nobody thinks Kate's gonna come. But in walks Kate. And she says, what do you want, darling? You called for me. And he says, where are these other two women? Go bring them to me. So Kate walks out obediently, and everyone is just shocked, because this is Kate, she's a wild lady. And Kate comes back in with Bianca and the widow, and they humph-lump off there, don't want to have anything to do with Kate. And Petruchio says, Kate, that hat you're wearing, it doesn't look good on you, take it off. So she does, she just takes it off and throws it on the ground. And the women go, what are you doing, you're so silly. And Petruchio says, tell these women what it is to love. And Kate says, this is what it is to love. It's to be perfectly content. It's to be a real woman, soft and pure and good. So much in love that you would do anything for your husband. And when you are angry, that's not attractive, you two other ladies. Nobody wants somebody like that. But if you're really in love and if you'll do anything for your husband, that's real happiness. And when he'll do anything for you. And Petruchio says, well, Kate, there's a wife. And they kiss, and it's like fireworks exploding out at last. And Lucentio and Hortensio go, oh, good job, Petruchio. You really did tame that wild woman. And Lucentio goes, it's amazing that she would actually tame herself. And in that moment, the lights go black. And that's the end of the Taming of the Shrew. Thank you very much.